One steak that's harder to find, although you can get it online from a lot of really good producers, Better Fed Beef actually sells it directly, is the Denver steak. Now, the Denver steak has no real relation to Denver. It was actually, I think it was an experiment by like meat scientists from University of Florida and like University of Nebraska. They came together. They were obviously funded by the Beef Board or the Beef Council to come up with alternative cuts of steak to be able to promote to the general public, right? Part of the Eat More Beef campaign. Totally love it. Good idea. Well, the Denver steak comes from the chuck. The chuck is the shoulder, right? The rump is obviously the round, which is the primal cut that comes from the butt or the leg of the steer, the chuck being the shoulder. The chuck then runs into the ribeye. So that's why when you cut some chuck steaks, it kind of runs into the ribeye. You can actually cook them like ribeye steaks, but I digress. From the blade, which is the bone that runs through the chuck, you've got the underblade steak, which is a cut of a muscle within the muscle, and those muscles are separated by connective tissue and silver skin, so you can remove the muscles, which is where you get these sub steaks. The muscle within the muscle, the underblade steak, is known as the Denver steak. Now, the top blade steak, or the top of the shoulder, that's actually the flat iron, right? So they both come from the chuck, which I've said is a really, really flavorful cut of meat because it gets so much motion. That motion is the connective tissue, the gelatin, the marbling, all of the flavor, but then sometimes can be tougher to cook and cut because it takes a lot of time either to break down or to isolate the steak and then cut it against the grain, which is what we're gonna do here with the Denver steak. So you got, once again, the flat iron top, the Denver steak, both coming from the shoulder, both delicious cuts of meat. The chuck is full of marbling. The way in which you wanna cook this is essentially similar to the flat iron. And I've done a ton of videos on that where I do the reverse sear. So if you look at this, right, this is the Denver steak. I mean, look at the marbling on here. Has no fat cap. So we're just gonna treat this like a steak. We're gonna cook it, and I'm looking at the grain here. This is important, right? So if you look at the striations of the muscle grain, see how they're running that way? With some of these cuts that come from the shoulder or more highly used muscles of the meat, you always wanna find the grain because you wanna cut against the grain, which is what's gonna tenderize it. So we're gonna cut against the grain on this, which is something to notate because sometimes it's easier to see the grain when the meat is raw. So I got this steak right here. I'm gonna get super dry, and then I'm going to just get myself a pan. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a rub down. We'll go beef. I was cooking with beef tallow, so I got some beef tallow out, so I'll just hit it with the beef tallow. Just kind of rub it down. Oh yeah, babe. Now, I would have pre-salted this, but I'm a little behind today. You know what I love? When I rinse the beef tallow off my hands, I still leave some in just to kind of rub around as a moisturizer because beef tallow is the best moisturizer. Now I'll hit this with a little bit of my microplastic-free salt, Vera salt. Get this guy right on the sheet pan, and I'm gonna go into a 250-degree oven, and I'm just gonna slow cook this until it reaches about 105, 110 degrees. Pull it out, sear it in a pan, finish it with a real simple kind of Dijon butter sauce, and then we'll try it. Okay, get this guy out of the oven here. Get my pan nice and hot. I'm gonna do, this pan is pretty well seasoned, but I'll just do a touch of some beef tallow in here. Not a ton, not a ton. I do like to dry the steak as it comes out of the oven, just to give it a little bit of a better sear. What I wait for is I wait for the wisps of smoke to come off the pan. I don't want it blasting smoke, I just want the wisps to come off. And once again on this, we're gonna do the flip. We're gonna do the high heat, 30-second sear, flip, 30-second sear, flip, flip and sear, flip and sear, flip and sear. All right, there we go. We got the wisps of smoke, and oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just keep flipping and searing, flipping and searing. Now this is a great cut. The Denver steak is also a great cut to finish on the grill because it really absorbs the chuck, which has like just a different kind of muscular makeup. It's got more fat inside the meat. It brings in a lot of that smoke, so you get a richer, smokier bite than you would say from like a filet, which is very lean, harder to absorb, less spongy, doesn't have the fat in there, if you think about it from that perspective. See that? We're already getting a really nice sear on this side. I don't want to lose, I want to make sure I get a sear on this side as well. I mean, heck, I'll sear both of the ends as well. The more surface area, the more opportunity to create flavor. That's called Maillard browning. And that's where you get the caramelization of the meat and the amino acids, which creates that really, really rich flavor that seared or grilled meat is known for. There, look at that. Look at that. They say, so there's 4 cuts of meat that are the most tender, and it goes filet, ribeye, flat iron, Denver steak in regards to specifically tenderness. So don't sleep on this. Get the ends seared, get a little bit of a caramelization on there. It's the beauty of having no fingertips anymore is that I can hold burning hot meat. I have no fingerprints either, so if you're trying to fingerprint me, it's not gonna happen. True crime. Actually, probably most chefs don't have fingerprints from burning our fingers so much. We used to have a competition where we would take green beans and blanch them in boiling water, and whoever could pull the most out of the boiling water with their bare fingers, they were the king or the queen or the queen, depending on what state you're in. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a little sauce. These guys sent me, it's called Nourish Fond Delight. Fond means the foundation in French, and the foundation of all sauces is like that rich flavor that you get from roasted bone broth or roasted beef or whatever sticks to the base of the pan that you then deglaze. This company, once again, I have no financial connection to this company. They just sent me some product. I tried some of their broths, really delicious, like really good. What's cool is they do these fun flavors. So this is a ginger, cayenne, lemon flavored broth. They're using grass-fed beef. It's regeneratively sourced, so really good, high quality product. So I'm gonna deglaze this pan with a little bit of this. I'm just gonna hit this with just a touch of Dijon mustard, dash of soy sauce. Tamari, actually, not soy sauce. So tamari is high quality soy sauce. Traditional soy sauce that's not labeled as tamari, they cut it with wheat, right? It's fermented wheat, so it's cheap. It's got gluten in it too, and it's probably wheat that's been treated with glyphosate. So I always look for tamari when I'm buying my soy sauce. Now I'm just gonna reduce this down. I'm not even gonna mount this with butter because I kind of want to taste it clean. Now I know I got like Dijon and soy and all that, but I really want to get the clean flavor to understand the fattiness on the bite, so I will not mount this with butter. Might do a little deglaze here, just get some of that flavor on the exterior. There we go. So now I'll just pull my meat out. I'll let this rest. Reduce this down a little bit. Let that simmer for a sec. Take this over to the cutting board. Now, oh yeah, so I can feel this. This is like a nice rare plus right now. The best way to feel your meat on a steak that's round like this is to kind of just feel it on the outside. Oh, hold on, the boss is calling. Hey, I'm shooting a video. Oh, yeah, oh, you just called to say I love you? I love you too, babe. Yeah, that's fine. I'll bring the kids, get yourself a massage, and I'll take care of everything for you. You got it. All right. Okay, Pooh Bear. Oh, she just calls to say I love you. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of salt on the finish as well. Okay, I'm really tempted to cut into this right now, but I'm gonna give it a minute to rest. So let's just rest, okay? T-minus 5 minutes. All right, this beauty's been resting now for 5, the longest minutes of my life. I can't wait to cut into this, so here we go. So remember, the tendency is gonna wanna be to slice it this way, but I'm gonna slice it on a little bit of a bias because the grain runs that way, okay? So let's just slice it on a bias here against the grain, a little bit of the muscle running through. I cut it still a touch early, but that's fine. Oh my gosh. That is just beautiful, beautiful meat. And I cooked it rare like I would a fillet, right? So there's a little bit of a muscle that runs through it, right? So you can see that connective tissue that runs through it. But for, you know, $20 to $30 less a pound, this is a beautiful cut. Now I always like to taste the ends. That is so much more flavorful than a ribeye or a fillet, and it's just as tender. Actually, if not more tender. It's probably more tender than a ribeye because where it's isolated within the muscle, it doesn't get, even though the exterior of the muscle gets all that motion, that's why the inside, right? The underblade below the bone is insulated. Just a little bit of this pan sauce on there. That's that Dijon mustard. That's that broth, that fond sauce on there. So, all right, so recap, the Denver steak, I would do a dry brine on it first. I didn't, that's fine. Go to Better Fed Beef, get yourself a Denver steak, low temp oven, 225 degrees, bring it up to about 105, 110. Get a cast iron or a carbon steel pan blasting, sear the steak on all sides, even the top and bottom. And then I just finished it at the end with a little bit of this fond sauce, which is a pretty cool product. I'm not being paid to say this. They sent me this. I love it. It's a regenerative, sustainable beef broth that's then flavored with cayenne, ginger, a little bit of black pepper, and lemon. And then I hit that with Dijon mustard, soy sauce, and just drizzled it over the steak. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and you're good to go. Bob's your uncle. This is an unbelievable cut of meat. Oh, yeah.